Microsoft Loop has given us great new ways to share content with your colleagues, but when it comes to sharing content externally outside your IT environment, well, it's a little bit more tricky until today, because Loop now has capabilities to share content externally with your clients and your customers and suppliers. Yes, you'll now be able to share a piece of Loop content, be it your collaborative meeting notes or other content externally. And I'm going to show you how those new capabilities work and how you can take advantage of them today. So before we dive in, I'd love it, hit that like button to let me know this content has worked for you. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It means that you'll go on a journey and be part of our community to use these tools that you already have in much better ways. Other than that, let's get looped in with the new sharing capabilities. So let's get started with Microsoft Loop. And as we can see here, I have some Loop content on one of my Loop pages that only I can access and maybe my peers internally. What I'd like to do here is share this content externally with one of my clients. And it now is possible to do that in Microsoft Loop. Let's go ahead and share this page externally. So inside of Loop, we have the option to share on the right hand side. By left clicking, we can then select Page Link. And in here, we get a sharing link that we can share with others. And as you can see, that we're going to share this internally, and that's not going to consider that capability to share externally. So to do that, let's go ahead and open the settings button. And in here, we're going to go ahead and select people you choose. And in here, we can now set the email address to one of your clients or customers external to your Microsoft 365 environment. Let's go ahead and add in one of our client email addresses. With that done, we can now select the email address and we can see immediately that Loop highlights this is an external person that doesn't work in our organization. We can now define the access rights. Should Adele have edit or read rights to this Loop content? Well, I'm more than happy to allow Adele to edit this content. So let's leave it as can edit. Go ahead and click on apply. This will now create a sharing link that Adele can access. And all we need to do is now we have this link copied, we can pop it into an email or a Teams message so Adele can access this shared content. Let's go and see how it looks for Adele. And when Adele follows that link, you'll now see in Loop that she's required to switch her account. Yes, there's no tenant switching that we see in Microsoft Teams. This ensures that Adele can access that shared content within your own Microsoft 365 tenant. Let's go ahead and switch our account. And once that's done, we can now see that Adele has access to the shared content. Even better, because she has edit rights, she can go in and start to make adjustments to the estimated cost or other items. We can see these changes happening live inside of Loop. As we can see, Adele has highlighted some content here. Let's see how that works when we look at it through our other account. And as you can see, we can now also visibly see the cell that Adele is working on, and any changes happen live will also appear in Microsoft Loop. So we now shared a piece of content with Adele that she can edit in place and also keep it synced inside of Microsoft Loop. But how does all of this work for collaborative meeting notes? If you haven't used them before, that's the function inside of Microsoft Teams that allows us to use a Loop component to bring content that is synced after the meeting and even works with Planner. Well, here I'm setting up a meeting with Adele. And inside of my Teams meeting, I can go ahead and add some meeting notes to create our Loop component. I can then add in our agenda points that we need to go through within our meeting. And of course, when we're ready to go, we can go ahead and send this out to Adele and she can now join the meeting. And also, I'll be able to populate our meeting notes. And here we are inside of our meeting with Adele. We can see the meeting notes on the right hand side that I can begin to check off as our meeting progresses. I can also add meeting notes and follow-up tasks. But how does this work with Adele? Because she has no access to those collaborative meeting notes, right? And yes, that is still correct. Even though Adele is in the meeting, she has no access to the meeting notes. That can become a problem because Adele may want to see or engage with those notes following the session. But don't worry, using a new guest sharing capability, we can now share the notes following our session. Let's go ahead and end our meeting. With our meeting now finished, we can go ahead and open up the meeting invite inside of Teams. Scroll down to the bottom and we're about to pick up where we left off with our meeting notes. Now here we're going to want to share this content with Adele. so she can also add meeting notes and check off the other points that were important. Now to allow this, let's go ahead and scroll down and you'll see the button to see all of your content in Loop. Left click and it will take us directly to the Loop page where this content exists. And well, as you've probably already guessed, all we then need to do is go and share this content with Adele. Let's go again to the share button and share the page link. And once again, we can go into settings and now people you choose and then define Adele's email address to again share it and set the right level of access, whether edit or read-only rights. With our link now made available, I can again go and paste it into a Teams message or an Outlook mail to make sure Adele can pick up with those notes later. Let's go and see how Adele once again accesses that content and if she also has access to edit and update those meeting notes. And there we have it. We're now in Adele's account and we can see that Adele can begin to check off those points right inside of our collaborative meeting notes and also add further meeting notes as well and pick up on any follow-up tasks. And now we can share collaborative notes with third parties following the meeting. If you're feeling looped out, then don't worry, because here at Your 365 Coach, we can also help you understand Loop and how you can use it in your team or in your business. Via the web link below, we've got on-demand masterclasses and even the opportunity to work with us directly and show you how Loop can change the way that you can work. So why not get in touch? We can help you take Loop to the next level. But if you also just want to find out some new great ways of working, check out our free Microsoft 365 ebook you can download and access today via the same link. Anyway, let's head back into Loop and check out those great capabilities when it comes to external sharing. But is it possible to share just a part of one of your Loop pages, be it a Loop component? And we can absolutely do that too. So here inside a Loop app, I have a page with some content, but I only want to share the design plan email body. Let's go ahead and highlight this content and then left click and we can create a new Loop component. With that now done, we can go and create a sharing link for one of your third parties once again. Let's go across and we can now click on copy component, and in here we once again click on settings, and just as we did previously, we can go ahead and select the email address of one of your third parties, being a client or one of your customers, and set the level of access rights. With that done, let's go ahead and click on apply, and we can now share that link once again with Adele to ensure that copy is right and allow Adele to make any changes to it. And following that link, it'll take Adele straight into that content. She can now begin to make changes to it and once again keeps it all synced and in place. And here Adele has deleted some of that content. And that change has been synced straight into our Loop content that we can see inside of our own IT environment, meaning a third party can also make changes to all of that content and keep it synced in place and in Loop. But as an important point to note, if you've had content shared with you in this way, or alternatively you're sharing it with somebody else, you'll see on the left hand side that you won't see any internal Loop content that you've been granted access to. It will only show the shared content. And that is because, much like Microsoft Teams previously, you only see content in that specific tenant. This does mean that you'll need to switch back to your own internal tenant once you've made your changes. The best way to do that is by clicking the Loop icon in the top left, and the Loop app will show you at the top that you're currently signed in as a guest, and all you need to do is sign out and sign back in with your relevant work account. And once you've re-signed in, you'll now see you have access to the internal content inside of your Microsoft Loop environment. So an important point to note that you will need to switch accounts to access that content back internally once you've accessed content externally. That is an important point to note when you consider sharing capabilities and ensuring you have access to all of your Loop data, and something we hope will see improved in future releases in Loop and keeping it all together inside of one app. But for now, it's useful to know that is one of those limitations. So we've seen some great new capabilities of sharing content externally with Loop, but how does it work with your IT security policies? I know that's a question many of you may well have. Well, if you can share content externally inside of OneDrive and SharePoint, Loop is also available to do exactly the same because it uses those same sharing policies. So if you can do that by sharing externally, you can take advantage of Loop sharing capabilities as well today. So what do you think about these new capabilities in Loop? Do they work for you? Please let me know in the comments, and also where you think you'd like to see Loop go in the future. And of course, let me know if this content has helped you by hitting that like button and also posting in the comments as well. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because it helps our channel grow and it helps you use the tools you already have in much better ways. Otherwise, I'll be seeing you in the next one.